it's just really sad that there's so little left. Is it your first time in an old growth forest?
Yes, my first time up here at all.
How do you like it?
Oh, it is wonderful. It is awing. It makes you look up to the sky. It's like being in a church, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything like this where you're from?
Ancient trees are still left there. And ancient trees go back, our definition in the bill, go back to 1850. They're at least 150 years old. They provide the habitat values that I mentioned earlier. They provide a historical legacy. They provide spiritual refreshment, a sense of connectedness to the past. Many of them were around since before there was a European civilization in California. They hold the soil. They create unique habitat for plants and animals. Even one tree makes an enormous contribution. You wouldn't realize just how much a single tree can do, but it can do an awful lot to hold the fabric together. And it represents the seeds for restoration. So if you save the individual old-growth trees across the landscape, you have a sort of skeleton in place to go ahead and do forest restoration, and around those big individuals bring back forest health and a restored forest ecosystem. It's easier to do if you've got the basics still there.
Anyone who has ever tried to soothe a baby's cries and ease their discomfort knows what it is to love a child, and knows what it is to have concern for a child's well-being and have concern for the earth that they will inherit. I often think that we're too late. Most of the giant trees have already been destroyed. But what little stands should be saved. We should save them for our children to enjoy. Fall on your knees. So I'm going to interview Autumn Bernstein, and she's been working hard on the Heritage Tree Preservation Act. And I want to go show her my little advertisement, The Child Spirit of the Forest, that I made, and see if she thinks it's a good idea to use that to publicize for the Heritage Tree Preservation Act. Support it, because there's only like a small percent of those old trees left, and those old trees are really important so that our children have oxygen, because the old trees give off more oxygen than the newer trees.
Yeah, the older trees do?
Thanks. I made this advertisement. Well, I made a film. It's The Child Spirit of the Forest, and then I adapted it to be an advertisement for the Heritage Tree Preservation Act, and I was so disappointed when I saw that it hadn't passed, because I had wanted it to pass, and I had wanted to put, let's go to 19th. I had wanted to help out with like educating people about it, about the act. And I just feel like, well, maybe if I can get my little film out there, then people can learn about what it is, and then they'll be more inclined to like support it if they know what it is. Okay, I have to look and see where we're going.
Well, and I think that people in California think that our old growth is protected. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so little left. It's like, what? They're still cutting down old growth redwood trees?
Exactly. I've done a bit of traveling throughout the United States, and I talk to people about the old growth forest, and a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I went to the old growth redwood forest and I felt so much inner peace there, and I really want to bring my children back there. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're clear cutting the old growth forest and there's very little of that forest left. And they're like, really? Oh, that's such a travesty, I can't believe.
And you tell people on the East Coast or in Europe, and they're outraged and they get mad. And I've had the experience of them like being angry with us. Like, how could you allow this to happen? How could this be happening as Californians or as Americans? They don't believe, they believe it's all preserved, because that's what everyone wants to be portraying, that it's all protected, and it's not.